All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining. We are getting closer and closer to the two big pitch days coming up. And so at this time, we want to dive into the judging a little more and the criteria and make sure everybody has a good and specific idea of what we're going for on Saturday, November 1st and Saturday, November 15th. Um, there are a couple people who are not here, so I've hit the record button. So keep that in mind. I'm not thinking this will be too long. We had one of these yesterday. It ran for about 20 minutes. If y'all have any questions throughout, feel free to interrupt, and I'll do my best to answer those as well as I can. This is just a review slide. We went over this in the last the last info session, that the contestants are all 16 to 24 and participants in the Connect to Success youth program at IRC. All these pitches will be for new business ideas. And just a reminder that we do have a range of English levels in this competition, but every group that's registered does have a pretty good threshold of English, but there's just different levels of confidence, different accents, different comfort levels with this kind of thing. And also keep in mind that most of these folks are in their first couple of years, some even in their first year in the United States. So this is a big step, and we really admire all the contestants for taking this leap. We're not going to really be judging people on their English ability, certainly. So just wanted to clarify that from the start. And then a review of the prizes. We have 3,000 for first place, 1,500 for second place, 500 for third place, along with business counseling and technical assistance for those three winners, which can include support in marketing, digitization, access to capital, business formalization, business finances, and more. So as of this weekend, we have 9 teams that are currently enrolled. Those range from 1 to 3 people. That number could still yet go down, but it won't go up. All have been assigned mentors, and that's really been going great. Some of you have participated as mentors as well as judges, so much appreciated to those of you who have participated in that. The idea of that, though, is that the contestants are kind of leading the mentor-mentee relationship and taking the initiative there. So, as a result of that, we have some of those instances are going well, and some of our students are having a little bit of a hard time getting going with their mentor. But on the mentor side, it's been fantastic. Making sure that they're available to the contestants and providing great advice and input. It's really that side of it has really been fantastic. So with regards to the pitch events, we have the practice pitch on 11 a.m. on the 1st of November, Saturday, and then the final event on Saturday, November 15th. And that will be at the IRC. Both of those will be at the IRC office. Participants will be submitting their business plans on October 31st. So for those business plans, as long as they're submitted on time, and we'll be giving a lot of reminders, those will be shared with the practice judges over email on the same evening, October 31st. That's the day before the practice pitch. But I do want to emphasize, it is okay if you're a practice judge and you don't have a chance to go over those before November 1st. If you are a final competition judge, we'll be sending out whatever revised business plans we receive by Monday, November 10th. And that is, we're giving 2 weeks between the two so people have a chance to refine their pitches, take the feedback that they got in the first practice pitch, and maybe even revise their business plan somewhat. So those revised plans will be going out ahead of time so that the final competition judges, the 4 of you, will have a chance to review those. So here's what the schedule looks like for each day. We have 9 different pitches, as you know. So the day will start at 11, but I would like for everybody to arrive by 10:30. If you are a judge or a volunteer of some sort working on those days, We will split up into two panels for the practice pitch. And so that'll be panel one, which will be Francisco, Manouche, Juan Carlos, and Dana. And then panel two will be Ayaz, Victoria, and Andy. And just so everybody has a sense, we have Francisco on the call right now. He is the small business counselor at IRC, so he'll be on one panel. And then Ayaz Ahmed is our deputy director at IRC, one of two, and he will be on the other panel. So each panel will have. Oh, and then Manouche as well. Sorry, Manouche was a former business counselor for our small business team and now works in our finance team. So three IRC staff participating, and we'll spread those around to the two different panels. We have two panels because that we have enough volunteers, and it just will help the day move a little faster. So one group will see 5 pitches, the other will see 4, and those will start at 11. We'll give 20-minute time windows for each one, and those 20 minutes include setup, breakdown, the pitch itself, which we want to limit to 10 minutes, and then time for questions and feedback. At 12 o'clock on the practice pitch day, we'll have lunch from Mediterranean Bakery. And then on the final pitch day, it will be a little different. We will only have one judging panel on that day because that's the fair way to do it. We want to make sure everyone is evaluated on the final competition day by the same set of judges. That panel will include Justin Howell, who is our executive director for IRC Atlanta, as well as the Tallahassee and Miami offices, as well as Saren, Teo, and Tanya. And so much appreciated to you all for volunteering there. The pitches will be at 11, 11:20, 11:40, 12, and 12:20. Then we'll break for lunch at 12:40 for 40 minutes. That's the length of the lunch break on both days is 40 minutes. And then we'll resume for pitches at 1:20, 1:40, 2 o'clock, and 2:20. At 2:40, judges will deliberate and compare the rubrics, which we'll go over next, rubrics. And then we'll have winners announced by 4 p.m. So this day is a bit longer. I would like to have the flexibility of being able to break into 2 groups on that day, but it just doesn't really work for fairness reasons, as we already discussed. Now, of course, this is the aspirational schedule. I can definitely imagine, perhaps, one setup taking an extra amount of time, or one group getting an extra set of questions. It will be especially a little bit looser on the practice pitch day because we do want to make sure everyone has the chance to get enough feedback, right? And that day is shorter, so we have a little bit of room to stretch out if we need to. But we're really going to try to stick to these schedules as much as we can and respect everybody's time. As I said, pitches will be limited to 10 minutes. Remaining time should be spent fielding judge questions, setup and breakdown, and rubric scoring for judges. We're about to jump into the rubric itself, but any questions about the schedule? All right, moving on. So this is our one-page rubric. We're going to go over each section. This is 20 points possible per pitch. Each judge will complete a rubric for each pitch. All right, so on the practice day, we have a panel of 4 and a second panel of 3. And then on the final day, we have a single panel of 4 people. Every judge is going to have a rubric that they fill out for each pitch that they listen to. And then each contestant scores will be averaged to produce a single score. Think of figure skating or gymnastics or something. Different judges independently coming up with different results and then having them averaged together. That's the fairest way we could consider to do it. Also, as you can see, we have 3 scoring sections on this rubric. We have main criteria, additional criteria, and pitch delivery criteria. The main criteria are worth 10 total points, while the additional criteria is worth 5 and pitch delivery criteria is worth 5. As you can see, each criteria has a yes or no to indicate was it included, and then you can sort of score them, good being 2 points, neutral being 1 point, weak being 0. And then for the 5-point sections, it's 1 or half a point or 0 points. And the idea here, I think, is that if you're marking good, that means that that criteria was included, and it was included really well, like with detail and with a lot of thought. Neutral would be that it was included, but maybe without much detail, or maybe not exact proper understanding of the concept. And then weak would be that it was not included at all. Before I move on into the individual sections, I want to say, I really can't imagine that we're going to have 20-point pitches, perfect pitches, right? I'm not imagining that. And the reality is that a number of these things could be left off of a pitch, and it can still be a really good pitch, right? We really want just to make sure that they're including those main criteria, and I would encourage judges to ask questions if they feel like any of the main criteria were left out, in order to, get them talking. It's absolutely possible that someone can, in the excitement of the moment or due to nerves, might just omit something and just need to be reminded via a question from a judge. Hey, so, what are you hoping to do with the money, for instance? That's the what's next criteria. Maybe they forget to include that. So just feel free to prod and engage and extract more of this rubric information through questions. So this is the main criteria. We have pain point, which is information about the problem. Value proposition, that's product service information, and how it solves the problem. The target market, who will buy it and why. And what's next? This is like the ask, right? Potential impact of the prize money and the short-term roadmap, including how they will spend the money. And then finally, the 5th criteria is that the idea is described in a way that is memorable. I think these are relatively self-explanatory. The only thing I want to elaborate on here is the 5th criteria. The idea is described in a way that is memorable. This is actually this criteria is a summation of the pitch delivery criteria, which you can see here at the bottom of the page. And so if the idea here is that if the team scored well on 3 out of the 5 pitch delivery criteria in the lower section, that they should score a 2 on this main criteria metric. And here are those 5 pitch delivery criteria: told a story, use of visual aids, and the business plan, enthusiastic, passionate about the idea, full of energy, relating to the audience, and providing examples. We'll talk more about those individual ones on a subsequent slide. Additional criteria. Each of these is worth 1 point. And so I want to provide a little bit of elaboration here. First, I'll just read through them. Mention of pricing strategy or business model, the market and its size, competition and competitive advantage, explanation of each person's role and expertise, and potential for growth and scalability or commercialization potential. With regard to pricing strategy and business model, we definitely want to hear from the contestants about the revenue structure and how they plan to sell their product or service. So examples that you could hear would include that they talk about that they are going to be operating a retail business or a subscription model, manufacturing, pay-as-you-go, and more. And then with regards to pricing strategy, there are a number of different pricing strategies that they could deploy, including cost plus pricing, penetration pricing, value-based, price skimming, and others. So which one are they choosing and why are they choosing that? The team should also acknowledge potential competition. We really want to make sure that that is mentioned, because without having that thought through, it kind of shows that they're considering their business in a vacuum, right? They're thinking about their idea. It's a great idea, but they're not thinking about how their potential business is going to interplay with the existing market and the existing competition that's out there. We want to hear from them about what makes them unique, what makes them different from their competitors. And then Regarding the last one, potential for growth and scalability, this one I think is going to be a little bit tough for our contestants, but mainly we want to hear in this section, does the team have an idea of what they want their future growth to look like? Obviously, all of these businesses are at the stage of not even having started yet. And so we'd like to see them demonstrating a bit of like a planning mindset here, and trying to think of how things could go and how they'll contend with problems along the way and what steps they want to take for growth. The pitch delivery criteria, which we briefly talked about already, listed there at the top. It's the same ones that were on this page. So each of these criteria is also worth 1 point. So with regards to telling a story, if the team has any anecdotes or personal stories that demonstrate the problem, and can build a judge's connection to the idea, I think that's the ideal way to fulfill that criteria. Relating to the audience. This one's a little vague, so for this one, we really are not trying to say here that our contestants are going to really know much or anything ahead of time about the judges and then like use that information to like create the best pitch, right? That's not really what we're going for here. Really, this is about looking for them to speak directly to the judges, look for related experiences, kind of engage in conversation, and then show understanding and empathy for a customer's point of view. And that's something we're really going to emphasize, the speaking directly to the judges and trying to engage them as the group and as individuals, and not just talk to them as like vague, judge figures, right? And perhaps in that back and forth, they can learn a little bit that they can use in the pitch. Like I said before, we do not expect people to be scoring 20 points. And that's why we separated the main criteria from the additional and pitch delivery criteria. A pitch can be missing some of these secondary criteria and still be strong. But as I said before, if you are scoring a pitch and they seem to be missing one of these main criteria, I would really encourage you to try and garner a response for those 3 questions and comments. So for both days of this competition, the practice and final, there's going to be an emphasis on just creating a real positive environment and encouraging an uplifting tone. This competition is obviously sort of based on things like Shark Tank, but we're not going for their intensity, right? We're not investors, we're not sharks. We're just trying to help people along their path to thinking about their career. And of course, this whole project is trying to encourage them to think about entrepreneurship as a possible career. For the practice pitch on the 1st of November, we really want the judges participating on this day to focus on asking challenging questions and providing strong feedback to each team. So there's plenty of time for spoken feedback, but the back of each rubric also has an entire notes page that you can write things down on. And then, of course, there's the rubric itself, where just the scoring itself will be one form of feedback that they receive and that they can use over the subsequent 2 weeks to refine and improve their pitch. On the final pitch day, competition day judges are going to focus more on the evaluation rubric. I still would like to hear the final pitch day judges asking questions, but we're going to give a little less time and energy on that day to like having a long spoken feedback or like having a lot of notes written down on the back. We want to try and keep that day moving, and again, respect y'all's time. So it's more on that day, more about asking questions in the moment and the actual evaluation rubric. So that just about wraps up the content for today. Of course, here is my contact information if you are wanting to reach out and express a concern or a question. But also we have some time now if anybody has any questions or comments that they'd like to make.
Yeah, Phil, it's Andy. On the main criteria, it says target market, but I would suggest to add to the main criteria how they propose to penetrate the target market. So, because there's really no mention in any of these sections about marketing, right? Sales and marketing. So, you know, they may know the target market, but how are they going to generate sales? And so that's really what it's really all about. So
How they
uh,
plan to penetrate your voice is a little faint, but you said how
how
they
how
plan
are
to
they going
penetrate the
to
target market, right?
penetrate? How are they going to penetrate the target market?
I think what we can do, Andy, and that's a great suggestion, is we can leave the main criteria to be kind of general, but then here on the additional criteria and the elaboration on the market and its size, we can sort of encourage our contestants to talk about, as you said, how do they plan to do marketing and how do they plan to penetrate the market. So yeah, I appreciate that suggestion. And we'll think about kind of tweaking the additional criteria with that. Other questions, other comments?
None for me. Thank you.
Okay. Well, this is recorded. I'm going to send this out to everybody, and as soon as the link is ready, I'll also send you a copy of the rubric, but you don't have to print it or have anything like that ready. We will be having copies of those for you to use in each of the pitches that you hear. Okay, thank you, Tanya. I see no questions. Um, I hope I'm really grateful to all of you again for your willingness to participate in this. This is a first time initiative for us. We're really excited about it. We know that, whenever you do something like this for the first time, there might be some bumps or hiccups, but things are going pretty well so far. And it's in large part due to the contributions of all of you great volunteers. So I really want to thank you all for that. And I will see y'all at 10:30 on the 1st or 10:30 on the 15th, depending on which day you're joining. Okay. So thank you. And I see your comment, Cern. Thank you for that. Sorry for the typo on your name. So I'll fix that as well. Okay.
Thank you, Phil.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And
So
I'll chat with y'all again soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye.